Yes, good evening, Mr. Wiley Brooks. Bill Jordan calling.
Yes.
How are you doing this evening?
Okay, and you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Is this a good time?
Yes,
Okay, well, sorry for last night, but I got everything under control, so if you like, we can start the interview.
Okay, anytime.
Okay, great. So, Wiley Brooks. Who is Wiley Brooks?
Wow, you know what? I never had anyone ask that.
Well, I mean, from the standpoint, you have a picture here of you lifting the weights way back in 1982. Is that part of who you are? Is that when you started Breatharianism?
Well, gee, I really don't know where to start. I mean, this thing is so far away from where I started, and so getting back to the beginning again it seems almost impossible.
Okay, let's start with you.
Let me. So if your audience is not aware of, is your audience aware of the metaphysical world? What they call the New Age world that's been cooking for quite a while now.
Yes, there are some people in the audience who are familiar with it. Yes.
Oh, I see. Now let me think for a minute, because I haven't done this in a long time from this point, because I've only been, I've been so into people who are very advanced in it until I just really haven't taken the time to go back to that beginning stage again,
I got you.
So let me see. A lot of, when it comes to, my own personal self, I think the best thing that's written about me is on the web. I mean, the way it's put, I've been teaching this stuff for a few years or whatever the case is. It's sort of like a bio. It's very short, it's very brief. But it best describes me, because I don't have much of a history in this world. I came from another world. I'm so out of this world until to start with the truth wouldn't make any sense at all.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
It would be like running into an alien, which I am, but since people don't even know that such a thing exists, like they're still wondering whether flying saucers exist. And, to me, it's like someone wondering if automobiles exist.
Okay.
Because I've been around for 72 years now. You see what I mean?
Yes, I do.
So, but I think most people call. Let me just sort of give you my perspective on how I may be able to reach a lot of your questions. Most people are interested because they hear about Breatharianism from the viewpoint that Breatharians that they've heard about are people that can live without eating food. That is the main information is in the world. And, of course, that was not really the main purpose of even making that knowledge known. The purpose was to make people aware of the possibility that we could do something way far beyond what they had been thought to believe. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
So that was the whole idea. When I started Breatharianism, I started many years ago because I came to the conclusion, not knowing that I would be different from anybody on the planet in the sense of just being aware of things that they weren't. I'm not different in as far as the physical body is concerned, but I was different because I came into the world in a different way, and I came with a lot more information about my purpose of being here than most people. So I started off very young knowing that I could live without eating, but I also made it clear, and have always made it clear, that I could only do that under certain circumstances. Do you see what I mean?
Yes, what are those circumstances for those who don't know?
Well, at the time when I introduced myself to the world, that's when I did the demonstration on That's Incredible. And the circumstances have always been being in the environment with the proper air.
Right.
You see what I mean? When you live on just air, the body is so sensitive in its normal state that even a small amount of pollution in the air, whether it be from automobiles or from whatever, is a tremendous detriment to the system. So it's impossible to live on just air alone on this planet except in very limited places. Do you see what I mean? So in other words, the times that I spend not eating here were not that many. One, because it wasn't what I came to do, but when I did do it, I could only do it up in the mountains, way away from the normal populations. You see what I mean?
Yes, I do.
So what I always said is that people can live without eating in the proper environment. Now, there are people who physically live on the earth. I've heard of some in Russia and maybe some in India, but they are people that are designed to live that way, and they live in an environment that's conducive to that particular situation. But under the circumstances we have in this country and under the situation we have with the electricity, with all of the man-made, well, it's not even a matter of being man-made, it's just that there are things that were counterproductive to the actual energy of the human body. For example, radiation from, electromagnetic forces like television stations, transmitters, and the number one problem on the planet right now is the power system that we have. The AC power system is extremely detrimental to the body.
How so?
All the other things that the world was not aware of, these are the things that would prevent you from going without eating, because you could never get the body in an environment that was free of these types of intrusions.
And how does the AC system, I
don't know if you're familiar with electricity, but the electromagnetic effects, the AC electricity, is very detrimental to the system, because the human body it runs on an electrical system which is more related to what we call direct current or DC current.
Yes.
It's a current that runs in one direction. You have your positive and the negative, and they both run in one direction. But the alternating current, the actual electricity is reversed. It's a system where you run from positive to negative for a period, and then it switches back the other way. So you have this interruption in the natural flow of things. Mm-hmm. It would be like your light switch on the wall. If you turn it on, the light would come on, but if you turn it off, it would go off. Well, that's what happens with AC current. It actually goes on and off. Do you see what I mean?
Yes, I do.
And so this interrupts the natural mechanism of the body, and it would prevent you from being able to be at your natural state. Matter of fact, that is the number one problem on the planet right now, is the what they call electromagnetic pollution. And so that I didn't even speak about years ago, because there was, I didn't want to, wouldn't do any good to talk about it, because most people were not able to not have the mechanism to detect it. You see what I mean?
Yes.
And I came with that mechanism. I have a built-in mechanism that allows me to feel the energy from all different types of manifestations. And so in doing that over the years, I was trying to find what would be a good way to get people, make them aware of the world that we were preparing for, which, by the way, that world is here now, which is what I call the New Earth. Well, back when I started years ago, I really had no idea how that would play out. All I knew is, in order to get people to the point where I was, I needed to find out what was blocking them from getting to that state. And I was not aware of all the problems. You see, it took all the years that I spent trying to figure out what it is that keeps people from moving up in their vibrations, which would naturally bring them to the frequencies of the New Earth.
Okay, so now what you're saying is, we, the normal human beings, such as myself, our body vibrates at a lower frequency than it should.
Exactly.
And because a lot of things, the electromagnetic fields of contamination.
Right.
Okay, so now you have a website and you teach people. What is it that you can do?
Well, what my website does, what I do now specifically, and what I've been, is my main purpose on the planet, matter of fact, that's just about everybody's purpose on the planet at this time, believe it or not, was to prepare people to move to a higher state of awareness or higher state of vibration in their bodies, which would be what is called in a lot of the religious books, heaven on earth.
Okay.
You see what I mean? There is this new world which is heaven on earth, but it's only experienced through the physical body.
We, the normal human beings, such as myself, our body vibrates at a lower frequency than it should.
Exactly.
And because a lot of things, the electromagnetic fields of contamination.
Right.
Okay. So now, you have a website and you teach people. What is it that you can do?
Well, what my website does, what I do now specifically, and what I've been, is my main purpose on the planet, as a matter of fact, that's just about everybody's purpose on the planet at this time, believe it or not, was to prepare people to move to a higher state of awareness or higher state of vibration in their bodies, which would be what is called in a lot of the religious books, heaven on earth.
Okay.
You see what I mean? There is this new world which is heaven on earth, but it's only experienced through the physical body. Now, most religions have taught that you would get to this heaven once you die, but that's not the case. The heaven that is actually happening right now, which I mentioned on my website, is a physical place. And in order to get to that place, your body has to be able to vibrate at a frequency that is harmonious with that frequency. You see what I mean? Like, for example, on a television receiver or any type of transmitter or any type of communication, you have a specific frequency, just like a telephone number, right?
Right.
So the same thing is with the world. The frequency of the physical world you're in now, called the 3D world, the basic vibration is that of carbon. So as you move to the new world, the basic vibration of the new world is actually gold.
Oh.
So you see, the difference is when you're vibrating at the level of carbon, then you cannot be accessible to the world that vibrates at the frequency of gold.
So that's why you say the true Breatharian has 6 precious metals in the bloodstream.
Now, everybody, and if you've noticed on my website, I've been saying this forever and nobody's getting it, everybody is a Breatharian. Everybody on the planet at this point came to the world from a world where they did live, they could if they wanted to live without eating because it's a totally different substance. But when they came to this world, and the only way you could get to this world is you'd have to come through a body that was in harmony with this particular world, which is a carbon-based world, right?
Right.
When you're born into the body, you're born into that type of body. But the way the evolutionary process works is in order for a society, for a world to move up to a higher level, the bodies are gradually changed. The DNA is changed in the bodies by the new generations that come in.
Right.
Now, have you heard of the crystal children or the children of indigo children? Have you heard that term?
No, I don't know indigo children, no.
Yeah, you've heard of crystal?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I see. Okay, well, the indigo, it's the same type of thing. It's just that they have a higher vibration, and their vibrations are compatible with the new world vibration. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
Oh, but the interesting thing is, this is where I come in. The problem of getting from the carbon-based world, even though the young people coming in probably from the last 30 or 40 years, and maybe even longer, a lot of people, including yourself, you come in with the DNA for the gold and all the 6 precious metals which are in the body, but they are subdued and they're held below activation because they cannot be fully activated in a 3D world. So slowly, the ascension process is being able to change your guiding system so that you're taking in substance that is more 5D in vibration and taking less of the substance that is 3D substance. You see what I mean? In other words, to sync from 5D into 3D, you have to eat 3D food. And believe it or not, the first 3D food we ate were fruits and vegetables.
Right. So
you see what I mean? So the story about Adam eating the apple was actually the thing that gave me a clue as to what was going on, because when I stopped eating, when I did my first fast, what you would call it a fast, I never did like to eat since I came here, but I didn't know why.
Mm-hmm.
But when I did look into it, and then every time I would stop eating, I would be so connected, and I'd feel so fearless, and I'd feel so whole, and I'd feel so, as people always say, I felt so godly. And then when I would eat again, immediately my body would change, and I would move into the realm of pain, and negative thoughts would come into the mind and that type of thing. So that's what gave me my clue to start looking in that direction, because, I started out with a problem with the eating, so I had to figure out why it was that, for me, eating was, a strange phenomenon when everybody else on the planet, it seemed to have been quite normal. So the process was for myself, one, to find out, it took years to find out that I wasn't like everybody else in the sense that I do have special capacities that everybody doesn't have, because everybody has a different thing that they came to do.
Mm-hmm.
And my capacity was that I was able I was anchored in the higher frequency, but I can live in the lower frequencies. You see what I mean?
Yes.
So as I moved into the higher frequencies, I thought it would be just very simple. But then as things started to unravel, from the sense that I also found out that the grids around the Earth, or the electrical system around the Earth, had been destroyed, and they had to be replaced. So I was one of those people that worked around the planet, which is something I had no idea that I didn't know anything about. In other words, there's a spiritual energy pattern around the Earth, which is the foundation of the spiritual side of our physical bodies. You see, the original Earth had these energetic grids around it, so that's why you could live without eating, because the energy came directly from the environment.
Okay.
But those grids were destroyed, and so when those grids were destroyed, that's what sank us down into the third dimensional world. You see, when you don't get the energy from the outside, you must get it from the inside. So that's why the eating process was instigated, because the external grids, which used to support us, were destroyed. So we developed the system of eating, and that's why when I discovered that I could live without eating, I didn't realize that everybody couldn't, and I didn't realize the grids were gone, because I didn't know anything about grids. So you see, there's a lot of information I didn't know when I came here, and it took years and years and years of experimentation on my own path, on my side of it, to understand why everybody couldn't just stop eating. And so that's why I never told anybody to stop eating. But most people did grab onto that part of it, and because it was something that also stretched their minds to a more unlimited state, because they were absolutely set on the idea that they were dying because of the food, or everybody had to eat, and everybody does not have to eat. It just depends on where you are. Now, I didn't know at the time that the Earth, in order to have the air pure like it was, it would have to be the new 5D world that I'm talking about now. See, I didn't know that was going to be the case. So at the proper environment, I'm in a world that had pure air and the lack of all of the electrical interference and the other things that were interfering with the body, but I had no clue that it was actually the actual new Earth, which is a duplicate of the old Earth that is in existence right now, which does not have those mechanisms. Now, it just so happens I am able to travel between those worlds, but I can only do that under limited circumstances. And it's not something that everybody can do. So that's why I only do it for a limited number of people. And, of course, if you saw my prices, they're what they are, because the people that have the money also have the qualification from the viewpoint of energy levels. Most people don't realize money is energy. You hear them talk about it,
right,
but they don't realize in order to have the money externally, it must represent the energy you have internally. So that's why to try to take someone that has not developed the kind of concentration that's necessary to contain that kind of energy into the new world would be impossible, because what I do is that it is something, like I said, I can't do it for everybody, but what I can do, and for the people that I do it for, they also overshadow, as they say, or overlight thousands of other people. So the plan has always been that, long before this time, of course, that we would have realized that we are spiritual beings sustained by the breath of life, and that's why I use the term breatharians. Breatharians are people that breathe and live on breath, and that's what has been said for many, many years. Man was created, and I mean, I think the book says God breathed into the nostrils of life, and man became a living entity, and that's true. It's the breath that keeps us alive. So the food was a temporary thing that helped to sustain us, not because only because the external mechanisms that were in place before we were so-called kicked out of the garden, they were natural energy grids that sustained the human mechanism.
What happened to them? What, you said they were destroyed. Why were they destroyed? What happened?
Well, there were supposed to be lots of different wars, planetary wars and things. I don't like to get into that part of it because there's so many things happening in the universe until it just gets too complicated to try to give all the reasons why things have happened. But it did happen. Are you familiar with the story of Atlantis?
Yes, of course.
Okay, well, Atlantis, in the day that they were doing what they were doing, they reached a point where they also went way away from the natural energies of creation. See, when the world was created, it was created in a specific way, and that specific way was centered on what we call love, which in turn, in the electrical term, is a balance. Everything in the world is based on a balance, and from the top down to the bottom. So what they did during the Atlantis time is that, it is a world of many cultures, and that was the purpose of this world, by the way. And in that world, which is the world of also free will, so in that circumstance, people were able to develop different kinds of schemes and plans and religions and, inventions and so forth. But unfortunately, because we didn't have any one guide or one reference point, the points that we had, it's just the individuals didn't know that, they just didn't understand, so they had to learn, and that's what this was all about. So the people that created the energies that were contrary to the natural force of love, at first that energy has an excitement about it, like today. If you get depressed and you eat certain foods or you do certain things, you feel a lot of love from that thing, from that stimulation. But when the confusion, in the getting confused between the stimulation, the feeling of love from stimulation and the feeling of love from the essence of the Creator, when that became distorted, then the world moved in the opposite direction. So Atlantis was actually destroyed because in developing this new type of electricity, which was the opposite to the natural electricity of the world, it created a destructive mechanism which actually literally destroyed the environment of the earth, which included the grids. You see what I mean? It was like an atomic explosion.
I got you.
Yeah, but anyway, that did happen. And so what happened, many of the people on the earth at that time, they did have a pre-warning, and so they went into the earth. So we do have civilizations in the earth, in the physical earth, that, we have societies in the earth. I don't know, have you heard of those?
Yes, I have.
Okay, good. Well, you see, and so those societies in the earth, and they're far advanced, they live to 20, 30,000 years, they had an opportunity to continue progressing and moving ahead, whereas the people on the outside of the earth, of course, were basically destroyed, the so-called civilized. and then everything started over again because there was only a rudimentary type of consciousness on the external side of the earth, and so that's why all of us on the earth right now are actually exports from other systems. But anyway, the whole idea was, I mean, because I didn't know all this stuff when I started out, but so what I'm saying is that's how the grids got destroyed.
Yes.
So I'll have to leave it at that because it just gets too complicated.
Yes, I feel you. Yes.
You see what I mean? Now, what happened is that we are, as you see, we are very close in DNA. I mean, every human being on the planet is pretty almost close, almost identical, except for a few different things that give us different colors and different hairstyles and different shapes of bodies. But we're basically all identical. But at the same time, we're from all different star systems, like the Pleiades or Sirius. A lot of us come from the inner Earth. We come from in the crust of the Earth, and then we come from the center of the Earth. So we're all over the place. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I'm getting a call from somebody else, but I'll just let it go.
All right.
So what I'm saying, what I'm trying to piece together here is that we did have the Earth had its own electrical system, which was based and supported by natural crystals and stones and metals and the atmosphere and all that stuff, and supported by the sun and and the energy from the stars. It's all about light, but they were all a proper combination of energies from the natural world. And so during Atlantis time, like I said before, because it is a world of free will, people did experiment electrical type things or inventions that they thought would make the world better in some cases. And then there were also situations where people did try to enslave other people. Those things were true too. So in all of the ruckus that came about, they just got away from the real truth of how things should work, and we ended up destroying the Earth to an extent. Now, we have extinguished ourselves from the surface of the Earth many times. So what's happened at this time, you've heard, I'm sure you keep hearing the date 2012, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, what they've been trying to do and what all the books have been talking about forever is that one day, well, there will be the second coming of Christ. Of course, we're already here. We are the Christ, you and I and everybody else on the planet. And that simply is a frequency. See, the Christ frequency is a frequency that's based with the same core frequency of gold. That's why they say in heaven the streets will be paved of gold.
Right, I know that one.
Okay, so that's why there is this world, and the streets are paved with gold because the world is gold. It's funny, I never get any calls, but I'm talking with you, and now everybody's brother's calling. Okay, you're still there, right? I'm
still here.
Okay, because my phone cuts out a lot, and sometimes I'm talking for 20 minutes, there's nobody there.
No, I'm here.
Okay. Well, so what I'm saying is, or what I'm trying to create a picture here, and then maybe you can decipher it later, but the whole thing is that the main purpose, my being here in particular, as a matter of fact, most people are here for the same reason, is that in this ruckus of destroying the world and all the things that we did in the past with Atlantis in particular, and have left millions of us in our physical bodies, we're all 5D dimensional people. We all are fully conscious beings that came into the world to create a world of the next level. So in other words, we created the world of carbon-based world, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now we wanted to create a world that's of a higher caliber, which is a mixture of spirituality and a balance between what the light we call spiritual light and the light we call physical light. You see, in the physical world, that we call the 3D world, you would say the ratio between the physical light and the spiritual light would be, let's say, 90% physical and 5% spiritual. Now, in the new world that we're creating, you have an equal amount of the essence on both sides, except that the spiritual side dominates the physical side. You see what I mean? Which is the way it's supposed to be. See, in the 3D world, it's the physical that actually is the most powerful effect in that world. Whereas on the other side, on the 5D world, it's the mental or the spiritual. I mean the thinking mechanism, which is the dominating side, and that works through the heart center.
So now, Mr. Brooks,
yes.
How is it that a person, you say that only the people who have the higher vibration can work with you to make that transition? What about the rest of us?
Well, that's the thing. It's not that the people have to have a higher vibration, because they don't. They have to have a greater capacity for handling the higher vibration.
Oh, I see. Yes. Okay.
I'll give you an example. Now, here's something else people don't know in the 3D world, because it's been hidden from you. Because in order to control the world by the people, the renegade people that did come here and who did want to control the world, they still have a great control of it right now, is the way you do that is by giving them a situation where you usurp their power by having them turn their power against themselves. See, everybody basically has the same equal power on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you keep hearing over and over that God, we are children of God, as they keep saying, and we're one with God, and we're near God, and we're by God, but nobody wants to admit that we actually are God. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
It's such a travesty, because what people can't realize, the only way you can control a God is you have to get the God to use his power against himself.
How do we do that?
Well, just what's in the world. You're using your power against yourself. Do you see what I mean?
Yes, and that's...
Well, you are doing that, but let me tell you how it started. Let me tell you one of the main things, and this is how... Oh, boy, this phone is going crazy now. It's never done this before, but that's life, okay, in the world. Okay, so let me tell you how it started. Okay, let me give you another scenario, because this is what really that woke me up real early when I came to this planet. I could see, in order for me to be totally free in this world, I needed to do one thing, and that was to be Superman. Now, you remember the Superman comic books, right?
Yeah, sure do.
Okay. I say, well, how can I be the guy who can do good for everybody? Because everybody wants to do that. We want to, protect the beautiful women and everybody else, of course, but most of all, the beautiful women first. Lois Lane like everybody else, right?
Right, sure.
So, but I was actually naive to think that I could actually be Superman, and I would not give up until I became Superman. So what I did, I heard a lot of the things I would hear from the religious people, and one was knock and the door will be open, and call and somebody will listen. So I decided I want to meet God directly, because it seems like the only person that knows everything that's going on is God, right?
Right.
So I sit down one day and I say, okay, I'm not going to give up until I meet God. That's it. So I started looking for God, and guess what happened?
You found God.
That's right. Now, why should it be so strange to people? But it is. It's the strangest thing in the world to people. They preach it 24 hours a day. Ask and you will be, knock and the door will be open, ask and you'll receive, or whatever, right? Have you heard that?
Of course, yeah.
Well, it's funny, I did that, what happened, but nobody else would believe it. Do you see what I mean?
Yes, I do. I've had...
And guess what I called that person I met who was God?
I don't know.
Instead of calling him God, I call him a Breatharian.
Oh, okay.
Well, and here's another thing that I saw very young in life. It was so funny to me. I just didn't believe anybody could see this. And I noticed in the Bible, I've read the Bible many times, but the things that were so clear to me, like, for example, in the Bible, I think it said, God said, let's make man in our image and our likeness. Have you heard that?
Yep.
Well, people are absolutely amazed when I tell them that the God I met looked just like we do. I talk to him just like I'm talking to you. They just can't believe it.
And so...
Now, Well, I met God, and I talked to him just like I'm talking to you. Now, let me give you an example why people are having such a terrible time.
Okay.
Well, you saw Breatharianism on the web, right?
Yes.
And you called me and you talked to me, right? You're talking to me right now, although you may not see me in person. But what if you'd called me and you'd got a message on the phone and say, well, little Wiley, you can't talk to him, but you can talk, his light is here. So I'll talk to his light and I'll tell you what his light says. I don't think you'd be talking very long, would you?
I would try to find out what that was, but not long.
Yeah, but let me assure you, the best thing to do is to talk to the person.
Absolutely, I agree.
Okay, so I can tell you, if you want to know the truth about God, then talk to God directly. Now, here's another thing that you might ask yourself, and that's the biggest problem I had on this planet. I couldn't believe that people are so blind. Here's the other thing that was really amazing to me, is that not only was it simple to see through all of these little things like God said, let's make man in our image and our likeness, but the other thing is really amazing to me is God can create universes forever, right? We know the universes never end.
Right, exactly.
The telescopes now can go out how many light years? Millions of light years, right?
Right.
But it's funny that God can't seem to make a little bitty body for himself so he can talk to people.
That is strange.
Why is that? I mean, why can't God do that? Why does God have to always talk to somebody else? Or people say, well, I saw him in a light, I saw him in a flame, I saw him in a shadow, I saw him all kinds of places. I'm an engineer, I design things. And if I design, for example, you go and get your automobile, right?
Right.
And when you get your automobile, what if they gave you a manual and you said, well, gee, I've got my automobile, but, you know, what happens if something goes wrong with it? Well, they say, well, you pray for the answer. That wouldn't make much sense to you, would it?
No, it sure wouldn't.
Well, how much sense would it make for you to go and get an automobile and they give you a manual, right? And you get home and you're driving your car and finally you get a flat tire, you pick out your manual, and guess what your manual says?
Pray.
No, your manual says June 1st, 25 B.C.
Oh, that's no
2,000
good.
years ago. Well, that's not the exact number, but I'm just trying to say it would be ridiculous to take out a manual 2,000 years old.
Right, I got you.
So I can tell you it's as simple as that. And that's the problem. It is so simple that it's just so far above everybody's head. There's another thing that was a good clue to me, by the way, that a lot of the religious books talk about, and they say, unless ye have the minds of a little babe, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven.
Right.
Have you heard that one?
Yep.
Well, guess what? That's absolutely the truth. And let me give you just one more example. I can take a little babe or any child, and I can tell them, look, I just talked to God the other day. This is what he said. Guess what they'll do? They'll say, yeah, well, tell me what he said.
Exactly.
Guess what happens if I told an adult I talked to God the other day?
Something totally different.
Well, you better believe if they didn't go and call the police or try to have me locked up or killed.
Right, that's true, too. They do all that.
But let me tell you something, my friend. This will be the end of people if they don't realize all of these things they've been hearing. Some of them are absolutely true. And the things that are true are the things that are the most simple. And there's one other statement that Jesus made that nobody seems to recall. And it's very simple. It says, have I not said that ye are all gods?
Right. I know.
You heard that one?
Yeah.
Okay, now I've given you a little background. Here's what happens. It says the kingdom of heaven is within, right?
Yes. And
God is in heaven, right?
Yes.
Well, if God is in heaven and that kingdom of heaven is within you, then who do you think God is?
I am God.
There you go. Well, let me tell you why you don't get into this other world until you meet God directly. It would be impossible otherwise.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you see?
Yeah.
Well, actually, what I'm giving you the preview to that, and that's why I don't know if I mentioned it on my website. I don't think I do. I don't talk about this God stuff, as it were, because to people it's just too complicated, because it's so simple. It's very true that no way will you get into this new world unless you meet God face to face.
Right.
One, you will never know how to get there because you won't know what to take to get there. And that's why I say on my website, if you have the capacity to tell what type of stuff you're putting into your body and what vibrations that you're taking, which are Christ energies or they're Antichrist energies.
Mm-hmm.
That is the problem. Do you see what I mean?
Yes. Can we just get...
The Antichrist frequencies only mean the frequencies that are taking you up. And the Antichrist frequencies are the frequencies that take you down.
Could you give me an example of a Christ frequency, a food source?
Well, right now, you saw my diet on the web, right?
No.
Did you see the diet, the hamburger and diet?
Oh, yeah, I saw that, yeah. the 3D diet.
Huh?
The 3D diet?
Oh, that's the diet you eat in 3D. It's a 5D diet. It's part of the 5D diet.
Yeah, with the
The thing is, well, here's the one other thing I can tell you. The 5 magic words, right?
Yes.
You see the 5 magic words?
Yes, I do.
Okay, those 5 magic words are the words that will connect you to that world that I'm talking about right now.
Okay.
Those 5 magic words will connect you to that world and will move you in that direction. Now, the diet I have is for the purpose of, if you're looking at it from the 5D world, everything in that world that you're in basically is a light. You see, I see it as a light, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, what light takes you up, what light takes you down. It just so happens at this point, that diet I have on my website is a diet that's used, that has that energy that takes you up in conjunction with the meditation exercise. If you do one without the other, it'll be like taking poison.
Okay.
So you see the 5 magic words, number 1. Now remember another saying, which was a clue for me, and that's why I got an early start. I think it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, or the Word was with God, something like that.
Yep.
Have you heard that?
Yep.
Well, guess what those 5 magic words are?
Oh, okay.
They are those words. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
Now, since I don't have any religion, and I can't prove to you that they are what they are, and also, since they're on the website for free, it might be impossible for people because they're so simple.
Exactly.
They are so free. And there is no proof. But you see, the interesting thing is, nobody's ever proved there was God, they say, huh? The scientists?
Right, the scientists say that.
Yeah. Boy, that's really funny.
So
but anyway, how would they know God when they saw Him? If you don't, see, before I can get anybody into the 5D world, I have to clear up all this stuff. You can't imagine what it would be like to be in the 5D world with the power that you must have to be there to begin with, but to have the thinking that you have from the 3D world, which is absolutely illogical. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
That's the disease in the 3D world. It's absolutely illogical and irrational.
Right.
It makes no sense at all. It's totally insane. It's crazy.
So,
and I actually believe if you just took everybody, keep them quiet for 10 minutes, and get them to look at how illogical that thinking is, I think it would change the world in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, after all, how many times can you say God created everything? God is everything. God is love. God created you. You are God. We're all one. God is inside. Heaven is inside. Love is you. And still, I couldn't even get people to say, well, okay, if you're children of God, well, could you accept the fact that maybe you are a little bitty God? I couldn't get people to accept that.
No, I can't accept that because my minister didn't tell me that.
Yeah. Well, how many ministers have you ever heard say anything about that? In the sense of God being, it's all that everybody is subservient to somebody that they think is bigger than they are, and they're actually the God that they are waiting for. We are the God we're waiting for. It's really funny. I mean, it's funny if it weren't so critical at this stage. So what I'm saying is, before you can get into the world that we're talking about, this heaven, you have to know that heaven is God's home. It's the home of God. So let's put it that way. Now, the other thing that's really interesting when you finally do see the world from the 5D side, and that's the only way you could possibly be in that world, and obviously you'd have to have the right thinking, because you also hear over and over again, you are what you think, right?
Right.
Well, look how people think. I mean, they're so confused, and there's so much distortion and so much contradiction in what they think. It would be absolutely impossible to move any higher in their vibrations, because they just self-destruct.
So to help us overcome that, we would do the 5 words. Is that what you're saying?
That's right.
And what about this stuff about drinking the Coca-Cola, Diet Coke?
Well, that's what I recommend you try.
Mm-hmm.
The Diet Coke, only specifically what I have, nothing else in the universe, and only in the specific size that I have, nothing else in the universe. I have the 20-ounce size and the 1-liter sizes, nothing else. If you get the 16-ounce, you get the 24-ounce, if you get the 10-ounce, you get anything other than those, they are just poison.
Now, what is
That's how specific everything is. You see, if everybody knew what I knew, it would be a great day for me. But you see, it would be hard enough to get people even do it after knowing what it is, because the mind comes in and says, well, that can't be possible. Well, how could they possibly know? It's the same thing about God. How do they know who God is if they've never seen him and they don't think they can ever see him? And what a dilemma they're in. They don't, if you tell a person they're God, like this couple people I've experimented with,
mm-hmm.
they will agree that they're children of God, but for somehow or another, they just can't believe that since they're children of God, they must be God children. And God children, they grow up to be adult gods, right?
Absolutely.
Well, we are adult gods now, but we still acting like children. Well, not really like children, I mean, with the simple minds, but adults actually are the opposite. You see, we are gods, and we are responsible for the creation we're in. We keep hearing that all the time, but we don't really believe it.
Mm.
So you see, that's why the problem is where it is in the world. Now, what I did, when I saw all this confusion, and I noticed that everything you do, everybody will take it and split it into thousands of pieces and make it so complicated that it will have no effect whatsoever, because it's all so dividing and separating, and the outcome would be. So when I saw that the first thing I need to do is to pick something that people couldn't tear apart and make it into something that it's not, even though they've tried very hard, is I decided to pick a word, because, we all have to be called something, right?
Right.
So I picked the word breatharian because it was very simple. Breath means breathing, and arian is a person who breathes.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You see, that's the one thing in the universe that everybody agrees on.
Oh, I see. I got you. Right.
You follow me?
Yes.
It was better than the word God. That's why I never talk about God, because everybody's got a different God.
Right, exactly.
And they're fighting each other because of that God.
Yes, that's true.
But everybody does agree. It has nothing to do with whether you eat or not. That was not my point. It never has been, but that's what they grab, because the mind has to make everything complicated. So as over the years, they've tried to ignore the fact that I had something that everybody agreed on, and that pulled everybody to one point of reference, which is breath. And breath happens to be the same frequency. If you look at the word breatharian, you'll find it to be the same frequency as the vibration of Christ.
Whoa.
Yes. And the word God was not.
Yeah, that's heavy.
So you see, when you look at my website and you see the word breatharian, one thing is for sure, you're perfectly in harmony with everybody else in the universe because everybody is a breatharian. It's just they don't know it, but they are. It's the vibration. You see what I mean?
Yes. So now...
So that's why that was the important thing about what I did. When I came up with that word breatharian, I knew everybody eventually would come to their attention, and I'm hoping that it's coming to their attention before they actually have to prove that they can live without eating, because they will have to, sometime in the near future, really come to a point about that, to be able to see that it is the breath that is the thing that sustains life. And food actually is just a temporary thing that we use to keep the body operating until we get back to our natural state.
So now, once again, what can we as the masses, what can we do right now to help?
Well, okay, I gave you the perfect thing to do right now. And the only thing about it is it's so simple and it's all free, and that's why most people won't do anything about it.
Exactly.
They have in the past.
Right.
And I must admit, this interview is much more extensive than I ever anticipated I'd be doing. But since you're still listening and you seem to follow me so far, it could be the greatest thing that's going to happen if you can get it in words. Because the main thing here is, here's the problem. The world that exists right now and all the power that we need is right now available. And the connection to that power are those 5 magic words.
Okay.
There is nothing on the planet more valuable than those 5 magic words. Now, here's where the McDonald's hamburgers and Diet Coke come in. Luckily, Ray Kroc is all from the world I'm from. He came here to do a job, and I had no idea that he'd be making these hamburgers that would be exactly what I needed when the time came that I had the meditation exercise into the universe, because without those burgers, the meditation exercise would be detrimental.
Oh, okay.
So don't you notice there's a McDonald's hamburger place practically anywhere in the world, right?
Sure is.
It's not too expensive, right?
No.
And all you have to do is you do those meditations exactly the way I have them on my website, exactly, and you eat the hamburgers and drink the Diet Coke as you can, and do it as long as you can, because the idea is to do it and not sit around and think about it and talk about it and write about it and fantasize about it, but actually do it for a while. When you start to experience the 5D world or your greater world, when you start to experience it and know it from yourself, from your own heart,
right,
which is the truth, is the only way you can get into this world called heaven.
I got you.
And that comes from within you. This is your connection to your own God power. Because the day is over when people will be able to continue deceiving themselves into thinking there's a greater God outside of themselves than inside themselves.
What about 2012? What's that all about?
Well, 2012 is a date set, and this will be the first time I'm saying this, I think, in public. Because people don't want to be frightened. That's what the dark side will tell you. What this is all about is all of the worlds below the 5-dimensional world, they dissolve. They were not designed to last forever. Mm-hmm. They were designed to last for a certain period of time, and the objective was to go into the 3D worlds, explore the 3D worlds, and duplicate the 3D worlds in the 5D world before the 3D worlds dissolved.
Gotcha.
So what's happened is it should have been done long before now, but the bad guys got in control, and the good guys are so brainwashed, and because it is a free will design, we're all gods in this world, and you see there's no God that can usurp the rights of another God.
Right.
So if we are lied to and we're deceived, then we trapped ourselves, and that's the problem. You see, if everybody on this planet were not gods, I wouldn't have a problem, because I know who I am.
Right.
But the fact is, there are also 2 billion other gods on the planet, and that's the problem. Because all these gods think they're not gods. So, you know, it's like getting on an airplane, and you get on an airplane, you're ready to take a trip, and nobody on the plane knows who the pilot is.
Right.
You wouldn't want to be on the plane very long, would you?
No, you wouldn't want to be, no.
Well, guess what it looks like to me every day I get up?
Wow.
I walk out into the world. It's the strangest thing in the world. All these gods running around acting like they're nobody. Like all these things they're believing and all this stuff they're creating and and they think somebody else is going to come and straighten it out.
So how does that make you feel?
Well, I know that it's insane, but in a way, it's okay because it has to be that way because we're all gods. See, this is the thing. Let me just give you a little viewpoint from the God side, okay?
Sure.
From my side, I know who we are.
Okay.
But here's the thing, and the thing that's really funny, when you first start to really discover how we created this world, that you'll see how funny it is because the gods that are trapped because it took a god to trap them. I mean, who could trap a god but a god?
Right.
So what we did, we created a game, and we did it so well that we cannot figure out the answer to the game ourselves. We got trapped in it.
Okay. It's a maze.
So I'm walking around the world where there are billions of people trapped in their own creation.
Gotcha.
Now, we're making a small breakthrough. I'm talking to you now, and you're still on the phone.
Right.
Well, most people aren't even talk through this long, because once you mention the word about your God, and that's enough for them, and they're gone. But I may as well tell you the truth, because we're running out of time. And there's no way to get into this new world until you face God face to face. And this is no theory, and this is no stuff that's going to pop up later on in some kind of pigmentation of your imagination. You don't get into that world until you know the truth. And the truth is, we are all gods on this planet. At this time in particular, we have all ascended at least once. Most of us more than once.
Now, what about, that's the next question. You have different types of ascension. You have ascension, power ascension. Could you go into that a little bit?
Well, actually, there's only the whole purpose of ascension is to move into the next level of our consciousness. You follow what I'm saying? It's like graduating from high school and going to college.
Gotcha.
It's just one process of moving from high school to college. The only difference is you may use different methods. You may have a different type of system. You know, you may have a high school for vocational school or whatever, different subjects or different types of schools, but the process is the same. It's graduation time, you see?
Right, I got you.
So the idea is, the projection was that we will be through with this game that we created in the three-dimensional world, and that's why you keep hearing about the world, the 3D world is the world of illusion. Well, the interesting thing was, which was a big shock to me, is I was trying to figure out what I would do to help other people figure out who they are, since I know who I am, and I was trying to figure out how can I get these people, the rest of us, to see, who they are. And then I realized in doing that, I had so much pain. There was unbelievable pain that I had to go through, because I just couldn't believe that you keep hearing this stuff is not real. It's an illusion, this 3D world. But that's funny. I was having a lot of real pain.
Right.
And that's what's happening to people right now. They're having a lot of real pain, but they think the 3D world is just an illusion, and it'll just up and disappear. Well, guess what? The 3D world was an illusion. But when the gods came here and forgot who they are, they made the 3D world real.
I got you.
So you see what the dilemma is now? You've got gods who are creating every day a world that's based on the rules and regulations of a 3D world. And so who can change that but them?
Exactly.
You can't force a god to do anything. And that's why the basis of all of things that exist in this world is freedom. And that's why what the situation now in the world, that before we can get out of this world, the idea is that everybody must be free.
Yes, I understand that.
And only in that state of freedom can we all be free, because we're all one. Do you see what I mean?
Yes, I do.
So you see, it's a very simple thing, but at the same time, it's very complicated.
Yes.
Since you asked me the question directly, let me give you the answer directly again, because I never thought I'd have this opportunity, at least from what I've seen in the past, is that the 5 words on my website, which are free, those words are worth more money than you could imagine in the 3D world. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I'm getting all kinds of things happening to my phone here. So so, but at least we're still on the line. Now, this phone does cut out at 1 hour exactly. It always cuts out. If it does, you just call me back. I'll wait, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Now, here's what I want to say. The 5 words are the words that will connect you to your source power, your own God source power. The McDonald's hamburgers and what I recommend, the light energy of those foods, and it's about the light energy. It's not about the nutritional value, but it's about the light energy, and that energy is anchored in the 5D world. And this is not dependent on what anybody believes. Hello?
Yes, Mr. Brooks, about the diet.
Yeah, I told you we're going to cut off exactly at 1 hour. I don't know how to change that on this phone.
That's all right.
Okay, so what I was saying about the diet?
Yes.
Okay, now here's the purpose of the diet. The most important thing is to follow the instructions for the meditation, right?
Yes.
And when you do that, then the diet is very specific. It's only those things that I recommend, only.
Mm-hmm.
And then drink as much Diet Coke as you like. But the idea is for a while, as long as you can do it, don't take anything else. Don't drink any water. Don't take any fruit juices. Don't take anything but that diet as long as you can. Whether it's, a week or 2 weeks, or just do it as long as you can.
Mm-hmm.
And along with the meditation, which is the most important, and keep increasing the meditation as you do it. Now, you reach a point where you say, okay, I'm sick of this diet. I want to try something else. Then go ahead and try something else. I want to connect you into the power grids.
Okay.
So that you at least be connected, and then you can start to feel what's right or what's wrong. Because in the world of the heaven world, it's all about feeling.
Right.
It's all about the truth, and the truth is in the heart. It's what you feel, and you can feel what's right and what's wrong. You see what I mean?
I do.
In the 3D world, you don't have that capacity. Now, it just so happens with the as I said before, the base metal that's in the body eventually that will replace the iron in the body. In your blood corpuscle, you have iron, right?
Right.
That will be replaced by gold.
And what does that mean for us?
Well, it means that your body will be vibrating at a higher frequency, and that higher frequency will be the frequency of the heaven worlds, and the frequency of the heaven worlds is gold.
Gotcha.
That's why you notice that when they say a person has a heart of gold,
yes.
well, you will literally have a heart of gold. Your heart actually will produce gold.
So now in the 5D world, is gold looked at the way it is here in the 3D world?
Well, no, it's liquid in the 5D world. Or it's like a mist. You breathe it.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Okay.
And that's why as you breathe it, when it's condensed into gold.
Oh, I see.
So you'll start to experience that in your body. But that's down the line. The most important thing is to do the exercises, and they will do what they're supposed to do. And that's all that's necessary. Just do them as much as you can. And the diet is for the purpose of acting as a catalyst, because you see what happens when you create a world, it is made of something that's called, I guess they call it a unified field.
Mm-hmm.
But that unified field has vibrations, and you can't destroy it. You can only transmute it.
Right, I got you.
The 3D world, in order to get out of the 3D world, you must transmute the 3D substance so that you can rise into the 5D world.
Got it.
But you can't do that unless you have a catalyst to do that.
Okay.
So what the Diet Coke and the hamburger does is that as you're doing a meditation exercise, you begin to feed the 5D energy into your body. And as you do that, the 3D energy, it must be transmuted, and it must have a catalyst to take it out of the body back into the earth. So when you leave, as you're moving up from the 3D earth, you want to leave everything that belongs to the 3D earth. You see what I mean?
Right.
So you can't do that without this catalyst. And this is the other reason why people are so fat and so heavy, because they can't get rid of the 3D stuff. You see, everybody's becoming more 5D, whether they like it or not. But the only thing is, if you're not anchored properly, and that's what the 5G words do for you, if you don't get anchored properly in the 5G world, then of course you can see it's going to be a real disaster.
So in a way, people who are eating McDonald's and drinking Diet Coke are on the way now. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no. I'm saying the reason why people are so overweight
mm-hmm.
is because they can't get rid of the 3D substance.
Right.
See, your energy is becoming, if you're having more and more energy, right?
Yes.
Now, you're supposed to be getting lighter and lighter because the energy is increasing whether you like it or not. You see what I mean?
Right.
But there's no way to get rid of the substance the 3D substance, so it just keeps getting, you keep creating more and more 3D world, which is mass, right?
Gotcha.
So the weight that people are gaining is not from the food they're eating. It's just that, it is from the food they're eating. It's only because they're eating 3D food, and 3D only creates more and more mass.
3D creates more 3D.
Yes, that's right. Very well put.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Very simply. You see what I mean?
Right.
Well, the thing is now, obviously, if I hadn't been in 5D, I never would have been able to see this. It was a total shock to me. I was also so-called vegetarian or fruitarian or whatever the case might be, because I didn't know that things were going to be this way. You see what I mean?
Right.
So I tried my best. I love fruit and I love the other stuff, and I realized it was, all food was a frequency balancing substance. But the problem is it balances you in the frequency of the carbon world, which is the 3D world.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
That's why I say don't take fruits or vegetables or anything from the 3D world, basically. Because the hamburger, the one I recommend only, and all the stuff in it, has a certain energy of the 5G world that keeps it from entering the body except in the form of light. And the 3D stuff catalyzes all the 3D stuff and moves it out of the body back into the earth.
Wow.
So you cannot accomplish this by not eating. And you see, that's why people are wrong. They try to stop eating, and they think they can get to the 5G world, and it would be impossible.
Now, you said after a few weeks, after eating the hamburger and Coke, I would find out something else to eat. Would that be 3D food?
No, I didn't say that. I say eat it as long as you can, because I know that's what you will do.
Right, as long as I can.
That's right.
And then
when you think you can't do it, then try something else.
Oh, it could be anything.
If you choose to try something else, do you get what I'm saying?
Okay. All right.
And then what will happen is that you'll probably be in a lot of pain when you go off the track that you're supposed to be on. Do you see what I mean? Once you get anchored, my purpose here now is to get you anchored into the world that is in the right direction. You see what I mean?
Right.
Once you know what the right direction is, and in the world of love, by the way, believe me, love does not like disharmony. And the pain is so excruciating, you'd be absolutely amazed. So what happens is you get anchored to the right thing, you will start to experience this feeling of love. But as you experience the feeling of love, you'll also be 1,000 times more sensitive to the experience of pain when you move away from the love.
Right. I know what you mean.
Well, the problem is in the 3D world, you never get hooked on the world that's outside of 3D. You'll never be able to tell where the love is, the right love, you see?
Right.
So that's the problem. So if you don't stick with it long enough to see that this connects you to another world, and then when you get connected, then if you go off, believe me, you'll know. You're off. This is not what you want to do. Now, I'm not saying that your body will want to have hamburgers forever. Basically, it's the beef that matters. But the hamburger itself, it's the carbohydrate which is the deadly poison. Carbon, right? Carbohydrate.
Right.
Okay, but it just so happens the cows, by the way, incarnated on this planet, so they would be food for us during this temporary stage when we would get trapped and couldn't get back to where we came from. The cows actually incarnated for that purpose. So the beef is what I recommend because it's for this purpose.
Okay.
A lot of religions teach you don't eat meat, and that was a big one for me because I was taught the same thing. And I tell you, I went through so much suffering because I absolutely refused to eat anything because I love fruit, and I kept eating the fruit and the best of it and organic, and I'm already got this power. I can lift, all these weights, and
right.
I know I'm God already. I got tremendous power. I traveled to all the other planets, but the one thing I couldn't understand, why the hell couldn't I get away with eating fruit? I love grapes, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh, man, the pain got so bad, it was unbelievable.
Wow.
So I'm saying, here's what I'm saying very clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Try it, right?
Right.
As long as you can.
Right.
And then if you just feel like, wow, this is crazy because the mind's going to pop up and it's going to tell you it can't be right, there must be something else. Well, it's okay. Try it.
Right.
And as you suffer through it, don't worry about it. You haven't felt any pain until you feel the pain of God.
Mm.
And since you're the God, you'll be directing the pain. Don't worry, you'll know what to do.
Okay.
The thing is to just get started. Believe me, it's far long. We have very little time left.
And for people listening, what is the title of your website, please?
It's Breatharian.com.
All right.
Breatharian.com. What they will find, the most important thing for them to find, is the 5 magic words and to read the question and answer page, because it explains as best as I can in words what it's all about. Now, if they do it, they will start to experience things that will tell them what they need to know, because words will not do it alone. You see what I mean?
Yes, of course.
The time for words are over. So that's why I put the diet on my website for anybody in the world who wants to use it. Now, as far as me doing the personal workshops, yes, I do charge $25, and it's going to keep going up because there's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I mean? But that has nothing to do with the people who are getting it for free.
I got you.
The thing is, everybody has their own reasons for being here. They're all gods, and this connection will connect you to your own God power.
So now the workshops are 25,000 or 25 million?
25 million.
Okay, so I just want to
And
make
it goes up $1 million every 2 months until 210. And after 210, the minimum will be $1 billion.
Whoa.
Yeah, the closer we get to the deadline, the more it's going to cost. See, it's different in this world than it is in your world. You notice in your world, things get cheaper and cheaper, right? So people don't do it because they're waiting around for a better price, right?
Yeah, right.
In my world, it's the opposite.
Okay.
You wait around, you pay more.
So you got to move now.
That's right.
Okay.
Tell you, if I had a lot of money, I mean, if I was in your world, because the money in that world will mean nothing because you can't get it to the 5D world. See, that's the thing people don't know.
So.
And by the way, we do use money in the 5D world. But I can tell you something for sure. Use the 5 magic words and try to follow the diet as closely as you can, as long as you can, until you get hooked into the energy and the power. And then you'll get directions as to what you need to do. But you have to be awake, and you have to know that it's serious, because it's just incredible that we're so close to annihilation of the planet. Well, it's not an individual thing. And like I said before, the date 2012 was set because many years ago, like I said before, all of the worlds below the 5th dimension were supposed to dissolve.
Mm.
You see what I mean? So we're supposed to be out of here before 2012. But you can't wait until 2012 to get out. This should have happened, thousands of years ago.
So we got to start now.
Well, yeah, I would suggest you're a little late.
Well,
not too late.
We got to catch up.
Yeah, right. You got to catch up, and that's why I have to have people that have all. See, the other thing about money that people don't understand, you notice you hear people say, well, gee, he's got a lot of money. He thinks he's God because he's got a lot of money. Guess what?
He is.
God is money.
Right.
It's an energy, right?
That's true. I agree.
This is how we create the game.
Right.
One of the most concentrated forms of God is money.
Absolutely. Because
so you see that people that have the money, in order to have that money, you have to have a certain amount of capacity to handle God or the light, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so anyone that has that, they have already developed the capacity to handle more light. So that's why it would be important to get the people that have that kind of energy, because once you switch the energy of a person, let's say, who has a purse of, let's say, $1 billion, remember, whatever influences in your environment, you also influence.
Right. Oh, I got you.
You see what I mean? So
Right.
changing one person,
I got you.
Moving one person into the other world that has billions of dollars, and you notice everybody that has billions of dollars also has contact with billions of people, right?
Exactly, I got you.
When that person is changed, everybody in his consciousness line is changed automatically.
So then one of the prime candidates would be Oprah.
Probably, yes. It would be anybody that has money, because one, no matter how much money you got, you can't get it into that other world.
Right.
And the other thing is, remember in the Bible it says it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than a man into the kingdom of heaven. Have you heard that?
Yeah, sure.
Well, this is the circumstances here. It's not that. The fact is, I really didn't know this, but I didn't know money had anything to do with it on this. I didn't know the mechanics of what we created when I came here, because you can only come with so much energy. So, but as I found these things out, of course, that's why I'm giving the information now the way it is.
Right.
Because this is not what you get from the religions and churches and things, because they're looking at it from the 3D world.
Exactly.
But when you look at it from the 5D world, gold itself, like I say, I produce gold in my body. So you see, in the 5D world, there would be no problem with people not having what they want, because everybody can produce gold.
Right.
And that's why gold is the most, and you notice we're going back to the gold standard, right?
Yes, we are, definitely.
Because gold is the way we created the world, and the gold is only representative of your God and your God energy.
We're going back to the gold standard?
That's right.
I never heard that. When is that happening?
Oh, well, check out in the world, you'll see.
I know that gold people value gold now, but our currency's not backed by gold.
Well, it will be backed by gold.
Really?
Don't worry about those things. That's not important. They're being taken care of.
Okay.
I'm just giving you the idea of how things work.
I got you.
I
got you.
You see, so it's all important. And the key thing is the most important thing is, and believe me, the most important is to just do the meditation exercise as much as you can, and take the diet, the diet as you can.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you're doing this and your life progresses, things in the world are changing real fast. And just keep your eyes open and be aware of the things that are brought into your vision. You see what I mean?
Right.
But this is the best thing that could happen to the world. Now, if the world happened to this through you or whoever, and I must admit this is one of the best interviews I've ever done with anyone. And so if you can make it make sense, like you seem to understand what I'm saying, it would be the greatest thing that could happen to the world if it got out, so that people could understand it. You see what I'm saying?
I'll do my best.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you the world will definitely applaud you for it, because we need it. And this is a very serious matter. And the 2020 date is absolutely critical. And what's happened, because of people's energy being so low, when you speak of negative things, because in the 3D world, they can't tell when you're speaking of something negative, they can't tell what the vibration of the words are you're saying. So they think if you say the word negative, they would feel it as negative, you see?
Right.
So they can't tell what the truth is.
Right.
They confuse the truth with choice, or what they believe, or what they feel. And since the vibration is distorted in the 3D world, it's impossible to tell what the truth is.
Because the vibration is so low.
Exactly. So you see, that's why that it's such a conundrum, because, that everything is the way it is.
Right.
And because, of course, the illogical thinking is that you can save yourself. That it's like a fish trying to save itself in the bottom of the ocean. Well, not a fish, but someone in the ocean trying to save himself by staying in the ocean. If someone comes down and throws a rope down and say, hey, grab this rope, and you say, well, I don't like the color of that rope.
Right, I got you. Right.
I don't like the sound of it. The rope it doesn't smell right. You see, that's the logic that they use. It's like, for example, if I told the average person that, if I told them I was God, they just think I'm crazy. But if I told them they were God, they'd really think that was insane.
Right. Well,
the truth of the matter is, everybody on this planet is God.
Exactly.
And I do mean an active, creative God. And unfortunately, we're creating all the mess around us 24 hours a day, and we're sitting and thinking somebody's going to come and rescue us. And when somebody does, like myself, and like many other people, including you and other people, I'm sure, is that, what do they say? Well, gee, the Bible says this, or some other book says that.
Oh, you're crazy.
Yeah. But you see, I can tell you one of the clues that's very important. Don't believe anything unless somebody tells you directly. Forget about books. You get what I'm saying?
I believe you. That's my.
When you hear it, you'll know by the person you talk to them. That's why I have people call me and I tell them, by the way, how to pronounce those words. I give them the exact sound.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if this gets out to a lot of people, I may be on the phone for the rest of my life, but that's okay.
Well,
matter of fact, I might one day put it on the website when I'm able to set it up the way I like.
To put what on the website?
And you can feel the vibrations directly.
Because
things have to happen fast. We are absolutely, at a critical stage. We have to act fast, and this is what I do 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't have anything. There's nothing more important to me than succeeding this time around and not blowing the planet to hell. And it can happen. It's not a matter of blowing the planet. We've got to be off this planet. We've got to be off this rock, as they say.
Right, off the rock.
You get what I'm saying?
Would you like to give us those pronunciations now, and I could email you those? You can put them on your website.
I can. That's why you have a recorder, right?
Yeah, I'm on it.
Okay, let's do them a few times. I want you to repeat them after me when I do them so you can hear them.
Okay.
They can hear two sounds.
Okay, go ahead.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Do you have the words with you, by the way?
I got right here on the website.
Oh, good. Okay, let's do them. I'll say them and just repeat them after me, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Jot Niranjan.
Jot Niranjan.
Omkar.
Omkar.
Rarankar.
Rarankar.
Soham.
Soham.
Satnam.
Satnam.
Jot Niranjan.
Jot Niranjan.
Omkar.
Omkar.
Rarankar.
Rarankar.
Soham.
Soham.
Satnam.
Satnam.
Jot Niranjan.
Jot Niranjan.
Omkar.
Omkar.
Rarankar.
Rarankar.
Soham.
Soham.
Satnam.
Satnam.
Jot Niranjan.
Jot Niranjan.
Omkar.
Omkar.
Rarankar.
Rarankar.
Soham.
Soham.
Satnam.
Satnam.
Now you see the way I say them, it's in a round robin type thing. You just say them over and over that way. You don't try to interpret them, you just say them. And you do it mentally once you get the sound down.
Right.
You do them mentally inside. You can do them anytime, any place, anywhere. You can lie down, you can stand up, it doesn't matter.
I can feel.
You just do them and visualize the words in your third eye as you're doing them.
I can feel something right now.
Yeah, well, you see how fast that is? Let's do it a few more times. I want you to get a better feeling because it's anchoring in your body. And you know what you could do? Since you seem to have a facility, maybe you could, let me do it a few times by myself. You can make a loop of it.
Yeah, okay, all right.
You could put it into a sound clip, and maybe I could have the people come to your website to hear it because I don't have the facility right now to do that.
Okay.
Okay, let me say them a few times, okay?
All right, go ahead.
All right. Jot Niranjan, Omkar, Rarankar, Soham, Satnam. Jot Niranjan, Omkar, Rarankar, Soham, Sat. Jot Niranjan, Omkar, Rarankar, Soham, Satnam. 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 Okay?
Yeah, it's good. That's a good idea. I'll loop that. I can loop that.
Yeah, loop that and let it run for a while. And then when people, when they hear it, and if I could get it in my website somewhere where I can, when they call me, instead of calling me direct, they could call and hear the words exactly the way they're pronounced. And they could repeat them along with my words and do it long enough so they can repeat it. Because as they repeat it, my frequencies and their frequency combine, and they create, you say you were feeling energy already.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's believe me, this is real, my friend, and it's very serious. So if you have the capacity, and you seem to have the capacity to really put this down in a way that people will understand it, and, it would be, the world would be absolutely forever grateful because we need it. You see what I mean?
All right.
Okay.
Well, I'll get this back to you as soon as I can.
Okay, well, and the thing is, so you can go to the website.
Yes.
As far as the question and answers about the diet, which I think I've made it by as clear as I can make it as to why
yes, you did.
it is the way it is. We basically ate ourselves into the lower world by taking Antichrist foods.
Exactly.
And then in order to get back to that world, we have to take Christ foods. And it just so happens that right now the Christ food happens to be the Diet Coke and the burgers at this moment, you know. And it's the most, you know, available thing around the world that people can get to, and it will do the most in the transition of acting as a catalyst to move the people up. Now the grids are complete, and so this could be extremely effective and very fast. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
And you know, that's it.
Okay. Wow. It's I can't.
All right.
I can't thank you enough.
I'm sure glad you called, because it seems like you might be able to get this across so that people can understand it and feel it in a way that, you know, I don't think, like I said before, I've never been this. Well, it seems like I'm getting it through more clearly with you than anyone else I've spoken to.
Right. Well, that's good. Let's see. We can. I'll do whatever I can to make it happen on this side.
Okay. Do the magic words. Okay.
Yes.
And then do the Diet Coke when you can, and drink it. Like I said, you can drink as much Diet Coke as you want, because it's liquid light, and it also has the fifth dimensional energy, which is liquid gold.
Wow.
You know, and luckily they can't measure that in the 3D world. Otherwise, Coca-Cola would be charging a fortune.
Yeah, right.
Hopefully everybody will get on this before they discover what I've been doing.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, you know, Mr. Brooks, thank you very much, and I hope I'll call you back within a week or so. I'll give you an update.
Okay. Now, what was your name again?
My name is Bill. Bill like Clinton, Jordan like Michael.
All right. Bill, Mike. Oh, you're another Michael, huh?
No, Bill Jordan.
Oh, no wonder.
No, Bill Jordan.
No wonder. Well, you know that you're connected to Michael, right?
In spirit, I guess.
You heard of Archangel Michael, right?
No. My name is Bill Jordan.
Oh, Jordan.
Right, like Michael Jordan.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, you have the Michael vibration.
And the name...
That's, you know, the Archangel Michael.
The name Jordan is the transcender.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely.
Right.
Well, great. Well, I can tell you, my friend, this could be really exciting.
Okay, well, I'll get on it right away and report back in about a week.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Take care.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Bye.
Peace.
Mm-hmm.